Okay, so you've just installed Exchange 2010 on your production environment and you would like to move mailboxes from Exchange 2003 to Exchange 2010 server. So to begin, you need to create a mailbox move request, and this is done from the Exchange 2010 machine, not from the 2003 machine. So what I have in front of me, I'm in front of the Exchange 2010 machine, and the name of this server is exch new, and it has a database called Acme installed on it. So I've created a user called Jeremy, and Jeremy is stored has his mailbox stored on an Exchange 2003 mailbox server. So if I go to the Exchange 2003 machine, the name of this machine is called server, and under mailboxes we will see Jeremy's mailbox here. So what we would like to do is move Jeremy's mailbox from this 2003 machine to the Exchange 2010 mailbox machine. Okay, so if we move back to the Exchange 2010 server and we go to mailbox under recipient configuration, we will see a listing of users. I'm just going to click on refresh to bring up that user, and if I go to properties and then view the mailbox database, we will see that his database is under the Exchange 2003 machine called server. Okay, so before we begin, let's take a look at the current Outlook settings for that particular user in their Outlook profile. So if we move over to the XP client machine, we are using currently Outlook 2003. So his mailbox is set up in Outlook, and if we go to email accounts, we will see that the Outlook profile is set up to point to the name of the Exchange 2003 machine. So now we are ready to begin moving the mailbox. So on 2010, we right click the user and select new local move request. Then we're going to select the target database, which will be the Exchange 2010 machine. So I'm going to select on browse and then select the name of the database Acme, which is stored on a 2010 machine called exch new. I'm going to press OK and next, and we initiate the move request. So the request has been completed, but the move has not yet been completed. Now let me explain what that means. If I click on finish and then I go to the move request, we will see that it is still moving. So we need to wait until this request completes before we can see that his mailbox has been completely moved. So if for instance I go to the mailbox section and I go to properties on Jeremy, we see that he is now on the Acme database and he's no longer on the server Exchange 2003 database. On the move request, we see that, click on refresh here, it has been completed. One interesting thing to note is that if you go to the mailbox section and then we see under the recipient type, he did have previously a legacy mailbox which refers to a pre-Exchange 2010 mailbox. If I click on refresh now, it now becomes a user mailbox to signify that he is running on an Exchange 2010 database. So now if we move over to the Exchange 2003 machine and we click on refresh here, we see that Jeremy's mailbox has been removed because it was moved from this Exchange 2003 machine to the Exchange 2010 machine. But what happens to the XP client machine where Outlook is installed for that user? On the XP machine, we see that it still says connected. However, if I do a tools and a send receive, I'm gonna get an error stating that that the admin has made a change that requires you to restart Outlook. So, fair enough, I'm going to restart Outlook and see what happens. Notice that it still says disconnected, but if you go to tools and email accounts, we will see that Outlook is pointing to the name of the new Exchange 2010 server and no longer the Exchange 2003 computer. So this was automatically configured. However, we are still seeing that it says disconnected. This is because Exchange 2010 requires an encrypted connection to it. You can resolve this problem in two ways. Either disable the requirement for secure connection on the Exchange 2010 server, or on the Outlook client, you can specify to secure connections to Exchange. You can go to change, more settings, and under the security tab we can check to encrypt data between Outlook and the Exchange 2010 server. I'm going to press OK and finish, and now it's going to try to connect and it says connected. To verify that that everything is working, we try to send a mail. I'm going to send a mail to myself. I'm going to click on send. And just do a send receive. And there we go. This is the email that we got. So that's pretty much all there is to it, to moving mailboxes. There's one other thing that I would like to mention that is very important. If you receive any errors in downloading the offline address book or sending and receiving emails and you're receiving synchronization errors, but yet the mail goes through, this is a common error that is due to the address book. So if you're receiving errors downloading the address book, I'm not having any problems, but if you do have this problem, please verify on your Exchange 2010 server under the mailbox section of organization, and then if you click on the name of the database where that user is stored, and then you go to properties, you need to verify that that mailbox database does have, on the client settings, it is set to use an offline address book. In my test previously, I did not have, this was actually blank, and I received offline address book errors. Although mails were sending fine, I needed to just browse and select the default offline address book and press OK, and I no longer received those errors. So just that was something to know. So that's it on this tutorial on Exchange 2010 Move Mailbox from Exchange 2003, and I hope that this has been informative.